Welcome to Top 5 Reasons Houston had to pull the trigger on the trade for Russell Westbrook by ScoutWithBryan. Make sure you follow on Twitter. Make sure you check out the full article on the piece with even more reasons and a whole lot more detail on why this trade works. This graphic, credit to Clutch Points, not by me, but thanks a lot for watching. Let's check out again 5 main reasons. First of all, his ability to get to the rim. Almost second to none in the league. He shot a career high 63% in the restricted area last season. You may recognize this set as a Rockets fan. They love to run even this kind of small pick and rolls, hunting for the weak matchup. So you can just imagine right now, Harden setting these screens, Rivers setting these screens, whoever it is, in trying to get Westbrook matched up with a smaller defender where he can basically just play his bully ball and get all the way to the basket. Again, 63% in the restricted area. He relentlessly attacks the rim. Analytics obviously have a huge influence, or really like threes, but on top of that, they like getting to the rim. They like getting to the free throw line. On shots around the basket, Russ shot 61% on 330 of them. Chris Paul, 47% on 83. That's a huge difference. In addition, he almost doubled Chris Paul's free throw attempts. Didn't shoot the ball great from the line, but you can expect that to bounce back. And most importantly, like I said, he just attacks. 3 shots that coaches love: threes, layups, free throws. Russ will get a lot of those for you. Basketball at its core is a simple game about attacking a mismatch, and Russ is pretty much impossible to contain one-on-one, especially with a big matched up on him. He's able to use his athleticism and his blinding speed to get to the rim. Ranks third in the NBA in drives per game, behind only James Harden, DeMar DeRozan. And those drives do not only create shots for him, they also create shots as you see them run pistol action here. Shout out Coach Nick. When Russ again gets by his matchup, forces a second defender to come help. Nerlens Noel lurking down around the dunker spot, gets right to the front of the dots where he's able to finish. Russ is going to create a ton of opportunities for Clint Capella, for PJ Tucker, for all Houston's bigs on dump-off passes like these around the basket. Phenomenal just at reading the floor, making plays for his teammates. Mike D'Antoni makes offense really simple. You see Chris Paul here, again, gets a switch on a pick and roll. Clint Capella is going to take his guy down to the dunker, and when Capella's guy has to step up, when Chris Paul gets by Looney, that creates an automatic lob to Capella at the rim. Houston has had one of the most efficient, effective offenses in the league, pretty much D'Antoni's entire time there. And again, they'll put Russ, Harden in similar situations like this, where Russ will be able to get switched on the slower bigs. He'll get by him, and then the game will be really simple. There'll be 3 shooters spread out behind the 3. There'll be a big in the dunker. Simple game, simple reads. If Austin Rivers, Chris Paul can get to the rim, I promise you Russell Westbrook can. You see Harden here spotting up. This was a big thing in Houston's offense last season. Usually a help defender would be at the nail here. Almost the free throw line is where Klay Thompson should be. But with James Harden, they pretty much said, you know what, we're not going to play any help defense. We're just going to stay so tight to Harden that he's not going to get the ball no matter what. So what that creates is a whole lot of extra space for guys like Rivers to attack on a switch. There's no help defender at the free throw line at the nail where he should be. So Rivers is able to attack and get to the rim. Expect to see a whole lot of that out of Russell Westbrook. And then when Westbrook is spotted up, you're going to see things like this. A little blast from the past. Yes, they have played together, and Russ can be one of the best in the league at using these slots as kind of a launching pad. So even if he's not being guarded all that tight from 3, that doesn't mean that he can't still take one dribble and get all the way to the rim off Harden's kickouts as the D slants towards guarding Harden. You see D Wade, LeBron, whoever it is, start to slant towards guarding Harden. That's going to mean Westbrook is able to catch and go, put the ball down right away, one dribble, and look at that, he's already at the basket. You see the same situation basically play out for Chris Paul. What's the difference? Well, he's 34 years old, not nearly as athletic. So even when he has his man tilting and stopping the ball with Harden, in the same way, Chris Paul is not able to take one dribble. He has to take 3. He's not able to get up and explode at the rim, ends up missing a corner 3. Reason number 2, pace. Russell Westbrook, one of the fastest players, like I said, in the league, a one-man fast break that's going to get his own rebounds and end up taking it coast to coast. And in addition, He creates a lot of opportunities for others, like we said, in transition. Capella as a rim runner. Harden's going to get his opportunities. Eric Gordon's going to get his. He led the league by more than 2 assists a game with 10.6 per game. Really good at reading the floor in transition, and I would expect Houston to play a lot more up-tempo after being the 4th slowest team in the league last season. He also had an NBA high 802 passes leading to a three-point attempt. Even though he's not a great shooter himself, Russ has always been one of the best in the league, reading the floor, finding shooters, playing with pace. Here you see him put in a spread pick and roll situation, which Mike D'Antoni's going to put him in a ton of, and all you're reading is help defenders come in. I'm going to make this kick to the corner, find Grant for the corner three. Again, Houston loves those corner threes. They love these spread pick and roll actions. You see, again, the simple read here on the after timeout play, or all Chris Paul is reading is the one weak side defender. Does he come in to take Capella's roll away? If he does, Eric Gordon's got a three. If he doesn't, Clint Capella's got a roll for the dunk. Russ is going to play in a lot of those actions for Houston. Like I said, had the 4th slowest pace, but remember, Mike D'Antoni, famously the author of the 7 seconds or less offense, he does not mind quick shots. PJ Tucker loves corner threes. They love playing floor spread, 5 out, drive and kick, catch and shoot threes. He loves guys to play with aggression, and you have to wonder if some of the reason for a slow pace was more having 34-year-olds like Chris Paul, having older guys like Nene. If Chris Paul can get to the rim in this offense, I promise you Russell Westbrook can. Here's another blast from the past. Russ, this past season, 4th in points off turnovers. You know who's first? James Harden. The two of them will get out and run. They're both pressured defenders that get their hands on a lot of balls and will go coast to coast. Reason number 3, rebounding. Russ, 2nd in fast break points behind LeBron. Like I said, loves to get those rebounds and then take it himself in transition, go coast to coast. Yes, Steven Adams might be doing most of the dirty work boxing out, but there's still a huge component of just being there, being in the fight, jumping to go get the ball, pursuing rebounds out of your area. Russ has averaged a triple-double for 3 straight seasons. The novelty of that might have worn off a little bit, but it doesn't make it any less extraordinary. And like I said, once he gets it, he's out, he's scoring. He's also tied with LeBron in second chance points with 2.7 a game. The Thunder, they rank in rebounding percentage the past 6 seasons, 7th, 3rd, 2nd, 1st, 2nd, 4th. They were consistently a great defensive rebounding team with Russ. Even if he steals a few rebounds, I know that Houston will prefer that to situations like this that forced them to be the 2nd worst defensive rebounding team in the league last year, as you watch Chris Paul kind of just meander off Andre Iguodala as he gets a huge putback dunk in the playoffs. Russ's defensive rebounding percentage, 25.5%, just behind Karl Anthony Towns, ahead of Anthony Davis, Clint Capella, Nikola Jokic. Like I said, a lot of these situations are just going to happen in the playoffs, and it's going to be a fight. Going against Draymond, I would expect Russ to be able to jump up and at least get a hand on this ball much more than Chris Paul can at his age. And like I said, go get it yourself, and then we're out to the races. And if you can't take it yourself all the way to the rim, Russ will understand that he's the second fiddle in Houston, James Harden's team ultimately, and ends up playing in spread pick and roll situations like this. Okay, so now your next question is, what if they don't really respect Russ? Well, he's going to be in the corners where you're not able to give a whole lot of help off him in the first place. But if you do help off him and lose track of him, Oklahoma City was famous for getting this look a whole lot. The second that Russ's man would turn the back of his head and go to help more on the pick and roll, Russ would back cut from the corner, and you know what? He probably has the lob pass even right here. Russ doesn't throw it to him on this one, and instead hits Derek Fisher for a corner three, but expect a whole lot of Russ back cutting from the corner to be an option within Houston's offense. Reason number 4, Chris Paul. It's a reason. You know what? He's 34. Russ is 30. I love and respect Chris Paul. He's a point guard. He's a Hall of Famer in my book, but he definitely showed signs of slowing down this past season, being taken advantage on mismatches, having guys really go at him defensively. And you know what? Offensively, a whole lot of just flopping around, falling down, losing the ball. Showed signs of age and is really slowing down his game. Russ, has shown some of that to some extent, but I think, like I said, with him much more consistently, you'll still see a great pace. You won't see dribble, 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 dribble. This is the kind of stuff I think they'll get rid of, and Russ plays more up-tempo, quick decisions. Defensively, you can check out my film study I did up top. I know a lot of people love to criticize the narrative, which is that Russ was terrible against Damian Lillard. You know what? My read on it was Damian Lillard was just pretty darn incredible himself, and not many guys could have stopped him with the way he was hitting shots in the playoffs. I think Russ is a really competitive defender, stays in a low stance, flies around, doesn't let things like this happen. As you let Chris Paul guard Klay Thompson here, he's just going to kind of end up falling asleep as Klay's going to get a massive three in that critical Game 6. Russ, you talk to coaches around the league, is still regarded as one of the best 3 or so competitors in the league, just a nonstop pit bull, a guy who flies around, competes on every single possession. You watch Chris Paul here, he's guarding Livingston, watch him kind of just meander back into the play to help on Iguodala a little bit, but is that the most effort he could have given? No, like I said, I think the age kind of really started to affect him. You saw even on situations like this, you got to switch against the slower defender. Go at him. Why are we throwing the ball back to James Harden on this one, just getting out of the way? We can get this step back anytime we want. We know that's the cheat code. That's always going to be there for Houston. Like I said, Westbrook ends up down in the corner, though. He's going to end up being able to sneak to the glass, flying around, getting some more of these offensive rebounds that he's famous for, keeping possessions alive for Houston instead of going the other way. And then, like we said, Chris Paul, just getting down the floor sometimes was a chore last season, especially in the playoffs. We see another situation here. Yeah, they can get the step back whenever they want. They know they love to take threes, but sometimes I think Houston needs to vary it up a little more offensively, get some stuff out of the mid-range, get some stuff out of post-ups. We'll talk more about how Russ brings that as well. And you see another possible rebound that a guy like Westbrook could have tracked down to keep possession alive for Houston. Like I talked about post-ups, Russ had 195 of them last season. Chris had 48. It's another variation offensively that just gives them another weapon they can go to. Not necessarily for Russ to get all his shots, but sometimes to draw more help, where he's able to read the floor correctly, find guys at the basket. Here's a little blast from the past, Russ going against Chris Paul in the post and being able to draw a second defender to come in and dig at him. And when he does that, finding James Harden on the spot up. Harden, like I said, got very few spot up opportunities last season by necessity of how close guys guarded him. I think he'll get more of them this season. Then, like I talked about, yes, Chris Paul was a great mid-range shooter. Russ, not as great, but it's still a big-time weapon in his game. He's going to take a ton of them. He didn't shoot a great percentage this past season, but over his career, he has had plenty of seasons where he shot high 38s, low 40s% on long twos. He's able to elevate, get his own shot. Speaking of shooting, well, that's not a main reason for doing this trade. And yes, Chris Paul is a better shooter. But Russ did shoot 26% on 3 a game off the dribble. Not so good. But on catch and shoot, 32% on 2.3 a game. Catch and shoot, he's a much different shooter like most guys in the league are. I think a lot of his low percentage was due to having to take a whole lot of them off the dribble, which are usually low efficiency shots on a team that really had no shot creators besides him and Paul George. Last 3 years combined, Russ shot 38% from the corner, 31% above the break. Corner especially, very solid, above the break, perfectly acceptable. Like I said, 29% from 3 last season, but 31% from his career, which is around the range of 45 to 50% effective field goal percentage, which, yes, if you run the analytics, is better than almost any long two you can take. So as much as people love to jab him for being Mr. Inefficient, he took maybe a few too many threes, but if you're taking threes at a 30-31% clip, the analytics say those are, like I said, a better shot than most long twos, and Houston will find a way to get Russ to take most of his from the corner, most of his spotting up, even ones like this, rotating behind a Harden pick and roll, where he's able to just elevate and shoot, and he seems to have a much better release than he does off the dribble. And then, if not for him, like I said, he does create a whole lot of threes for everybody else. As you see here in this situation, even in the older NBA where he had 2 bigs in the paint, now Houston's going to have maybe 1 big in the dunker, maybe 5 out, maybe P.J. Tucker playing the 5, and nobody in the paint. And what that's going to do is open up driving lanes. Guys are going to come in to help. Russ is going to be able to find guys like Harden, guys like Eric Gordon, guys like Austin Rivers, everybody spotting up. Now, that's about it for this video, but guess what? I got another 5 to 10 minutes of great footage. Patreon.com/ScoutWithBryan. You subscribe, even $1 a month, you get bonus footage where I talk about how I see this fit working, what kind of plays they can run together to take advantage of both their skill sets, how they can work together off the ball, with the ball. Patreon.com/ScoutWithBryan. I'll also put a link in the top left coming up so you can check out things like how Russ can be in the dunker, finish at the rim this way. Thanks very much for watching. The 5 reasons Houston had to trade for Russ. Again, pinned to this video, the article at Lineups. Make sure you read it. It has a whole lot more analytics, a whole lot more detail. And again, please subscribe on Patreon. Even $1 a month, like I said, gets you access to exclusive videos, a more in-depth version of this one, extra videos on Rui Hachimura, RJ Barrett, a whole lot of other cool stuff. Please make sure you thumb up, hit that subscribe button, follow on Twitter at ScoutWithBryan. Thanks for watching. Talk to you guys soon.